Greetings from Sierra Leone. Like Nancy said, I am Josephine Kamara. I'm a feminist activist, and I like to consider myself to be an enthusiastic girls education promoter. Sorry. I want to start with a very important question, and I want you to think about it as I introduce my topic. And the question is, who do you think are the sole providers for families in Africa? While you think about it, I will introduce that I'm here today to speak about something I'm extremely passionate about, which is pregnant girls' rights to education in Africa. Now, I'll go back to my question. I know most of you will think men are the sole providers for families in Africa. The fact is, that is not correct. Let's take Sierra Leone, for example, where 75% of Sierra Leonean women, according to current trend and the Population Council's reports, will become single mothers, thereby becoming primary caregivers for themselves and for their children. Now, this is not only a trend in Sierra Leone, it's an African thing. In fact, in Africa, the role of women cannot be ignored. We raise children. Somehow, society defines that role for us as if we're born with a manual that says how to raise a child. We do the farming work and produce food. 70% of African women are in the agriculture sector. We provide care and we support our families. And that is the reason why during challenging times like crisis or pandemic, women suffer the most. This is why I feel African leaders, African communities, and African families need to focus on building the capacities of African women. According to World Bank, every year a girl spends in secondary school, it increases her lifetime earning potential by up to 25%. I mean, this clearly reveals that decision to keep girls in school, it makes absolute sense, especially in a continent where women and girls are limited access to education for many reasons, barriers such as child marriage, female genital mutilation, or the fact that schools are just not safe or inclusive for girls in Africa. Sorry about the background noise, my daughter is here. With this in mind, don't you think we should be removing barriers instead of creating ones that stand in the way of girls' right and access to education? Well, this is what most African countries are doing. Girls' reproductive status can even limit their access to education. Let me shock you with some facts. 7 African countries criminalize girls that get pregnant outside marital union. 18 African countries have no retention policy for pregnant girls or even teenage mothers. And 4 African countries, well, now 3, and that is because my country, Sierra Leone, managed to walk out of it. And I'll share some of the strides I took to make that happen. Have exclusive policies that ban pregnant girls from school. Now, when this policy in Sierra Leone was introduced, it was a period when the country was suffering from the Ebola outbreak, a period when a foreign policy magazine published an article that says there is or was an Ebola rape crisis in Sierra Leone that no one is talking about. And why did they say that? It was because during that period, schools were closed for a period of 1 year, and girls were locked down with their abusers, perpetrators, child molesters. Over 14,000 girls became pregnant during that period in Sierra Leone. These were girls who were below the age of 18, and my country's sexual offenses law says girls below the age of 18 cannot give legal consent to sex. Our government, in their wisdom, decided to punish girls for crimes perpetrated on them instead of punishing those perpetrators, those people who were taking advantage of girls. And how do they punish girls? They form a discriminatory government policies that bans these girls from going back to school or from going to school during pregnancy. Now, during the peak of this campaign in Sierra Leone, I I opened up and shared my personal experience with the world. And I'd like to take this opportunity to share it with all of you present here today. This is a little about myself. I have 12 siblings. My father somehow is entangled with 5 women. I am the only member of my family with university degree. And I'm not proud of this. This is not a celebration. It is my sad reality to be the only member out of 5 siblings to have first degree. I am currently the sole provider for my mother, 4 of my siblings, and for my daughter. And that's a suffering for most of us that comes from home where we are the only one with the higher education or better jobs or even having better chance at doing great things. There is lots of burden in our lives. Before this, at the age of 16, I was a very curious girl who was just going to school. In my second year in senior high school, I became impregnated by my extra math tutor. And that is the man who teaches me maths classes outside of school. We call them here lesson teacher. My greatest fear at that moment was not even the fear of my family knowing. Well, yes, I was a bit disappointed because I saw myself as that passport for my family out of poverty. But my greatest fear at that particular moment was the fact that I was going to miss out in education. The thought of me not going to school because of pregnancy, it killed me many times. I tried to end it all, and this is fact because I took a lot of pills. I survived and ended up to a quack doctor for an unsafe abortion. I'm not proud of that also. That unsafe abortion caused me to bleed for almost a month. And the reason why it was unsafe is because abortion is illegal in Sierra Leone, which is a topic for another day when we get to meet. In my view, no girl should have to go through any of this to stay in school, especially when education should be a basic human right, irrespective of your health, your pregnancy status, or even your marital status. And this is a major reason why I became one of the lead advocates for this campaign in Sierra Leone. I started in 2018 leading Purposeful and its Coalition for Girls' Education to gain public support because this was a new topic. It was a taboo topic in my country. So the first effort was to make sure the public is on our side and also to influence the government of Sierra Leone to revoke this discriminatory policy. I am proud to say that today I sat in a panel with my president and other world leaders, and I was really proud when my president said one of his memorable or most important success during his presidency right now is the fact that Sierra Leone now have a radical inclusion in education policy, which means every girl, irrespective of their pregnancy status, their health status, their marital status, can go to school if they choose and want to go to school. Meaning the government has removed the barriers that was in the form of that policy that limited girls' access to school in my country. This is why I feel it is my mission. This is my life purpose to call on African countries to be inspired and model this progressive radical inclusion from Sierra Leone. The only set of people that could save this continent and the world at large is a strong army of educated female children. So I call on all of you, my colleagues, MWF 2021 Fellow, wherever you find yourself, whatever space you're in, own it for girls and make use of that opportunity to call on people to invest in girls' education and call on world leaders to remove barriers that limit girls' rights and access to education. Again, my name is Josephine Kamara. I am from Sierra Leone, and I find this as my life purpose. Thank you very much for listening to me.